to those, there are items. So most likely we cannot see, this private, this structure over here. It's called underscore head. No, we cannot actually like inherit from the standard library class. We're not able to, because we're never able to. No, there's no way to do that.
Oh, okay, I see.
So basically, um, what I mean, they must have their data set to private. So I don't think they allow that class to be inherited. And so in order to make any, so if this is our best imitation of the actual standard library class, and you have, since we have like tried to imitate the code, try to mirror exactly what that class is doing, then we can actually then, what you are trying to say, that if we inherit and then we can actually add more functionality. So we can directly add more functionality in the S-linked list class over here. So supposing we want to, these are the functions, that some of the functions that we have written, and again mirror what is in the forward list class. But let's try to add more functionality. So maybe if we want to write a traverse and print function. Now a traverse and print function is already available in the we already are, so it's not function available, but we are actually sort of traversing it. Traversing meaning go one by one over all the nodes of the list, and we are traversing / iterating over it means the same thing, going one by one, and we are using iterators to do that. So dot begin, dot end, and this is through the functions that are available, the dot begin and the dot end, and those are available for the forward list class as well. So we can iterate over any list that we create using the forward list, and then that's exactly what many of these functions are doing over here, trying to iterate over that class. But the point is, since we don't, over here, what if we want to actually traverse the list using pointers, using actually the head pointer, and also like the data, the private data. And since we have access to that over here, then we are able to write such a traverse function for the using the pointer. So that function is already written over here. You have S-linked list traverse and print function. What this function is doing is, you have to make this a template function, because this is a part of the template class. You make it possible for any data type, and then you have the function header, which has the return type. You don't want to return anything, so it's a void. Then the name of the class you're adding the function to, and again it's a template class. And then since you're writing it outside the class declaration definition, so you are having the scope resolution operator, and then the name of the function. So let me just, how will I add to this? Because I do have the header files, the code. So let me just copy this from here and add it to the this hxx, right? Just right before the iterator functions and right after the other functions over here. So you have all of these functions. Let me just add it right over here. So paste it over here. This is a new function I'm adding. Now it has an error indication saying this needs to be actually declared in the class as well. So let me copy the class declaration, the function declaration in the HTTP file right over here, anywhere basically. So this has to be a public function, and then we can get rid of this class name over here and the scope resolution. Just need this. because it's inside the class. So now let's see what exactly this function is doing. So we actually have access to because this function is part of the class, so basically we can access the private data of the class. This is what we don't have in the forward list. If we were to inherit from them, we have no way of knowing accessing them to be able to use them, because functions need to use the data members. So we need the underscore head. That's the head basically. What we're trying to do is we are setting a pointer over here to the first node in the list. So this is supposing this is my single linked list, and this is the head. Then I'm setting a pointer that can point to something like a node, and I'm setting it to where the head is pointing to. So the PTR points over here. And then I'm running a while loop which checks that as long as the pointer is not null pointer. So currently the pointer is not null pointer, it's pointing to something over here. So I will keep it going over the list. So first of all I check the pointer is not null pointer, so I enter the loop. Then I'm able to access the data, so pointer arrow data, and I'm printing it out because this is the data item in that node, so this gets printed out, and then a space. And then to move to the next element, I'm doing pointer equals pointers next. That means that pointer will now point to pointer where pointers next will be. In this line will keep on moving it to the next element. And then again the loop would start its next iteration. Then again it will print out the next this data over here, so 3. Then again pointer moves to next, prints 5. Then finally this is the last node, so this is null pointer. So pointer will now ultimately hit null pointer, and that's when the loop will stop and you have traversed the list technically using the pointers over here. So this is a new function you are able to add, and let's test it in our main function that we have. So let me try to print, call that traverse function over here. Then let me try to run it and see that either using the iterators or using the function that we have just written, which traverses using the pointers, we should get the same result, which we do. So this is a check that our function is running correctly, right? So this is how, we can add code because we have access to our class. So any questions at all?
Yes, Professor, I'm sorry, I joined late today. What did I miss that was important for the homework and the exam?
So mostly I'm just, continue on with me over here, so you may be able to catch up.
Okay.
So mostly what is, we did a little bit of this one over here. You may want to look at the S-linked list example and the traverse extent function. That is what we have covered so far.
Okay, thank you.
And so now this is the single linked list is, and now we have so mostly what is a doubly linked list if this is a single linked list? So the only difference from a single linked list is that in a doubly linked list, you have another pointer. So this is a next pointer. In a doubly linked list, you do have a next pointer, but you have additional pointers at each node. So you have a previous and you have a previous pointer. So then finally, if this is the last node, then this is the tail point, this is the null. And then because this node also has to have a previous pointer, this will be null. What this means is that in a singly linked list, any node mostly has some data in it and has some next pointer like that. But if this node is now a doubly linked list node, it will have a next pointer, but also a previous pointer. So that's why the head mostly, when the first element in the single linked list did not have a previous pointer, but now it does have a previous pointer. And tail anyway always has a next pointer, but tail now also has a previous pointer. Now, there is one thing that is actually called, there are two ways you can implement doubly linked list. Either just the regular way where you have this each node going into the other to the next, and then you have a previous, and then you have this and this and this, and this is head and this is tail. This is a regular DLL implementation. There is one more widely used implementation which is actually called a dummy node implementation with dummy nodes. And what are those? Dummy nodes are two extra nodes, one at the beginning, the other at the end. And in that case, the head is always pointing to the dummy node, the first dummy node, tail to the last, and the second one, the last one. And then your list basically are between those two dummy nodes. So basically over here the list is the same. So mostly if this was 3, 1, 2, the list is the same. Only thing is you have two extra nodes over here that will just act as regular nodes of the doubly linked list, but they are dummies. Why dummies? Because just like placeholders or something, like you must have heard, you may hear different names, sentinel nodes. Mostly the data, even if they have any data in here, that's not part of the list. Their job is only as standpoints over here, just to have like the head always here, the tail always here. Now why is that a case over here? It's because in the single linked list you just had one pointer to manage. So if you remember, every time when you were adding something to the beginning or adding something to the end, you had to update the latest head, because if this was the head previously, if a new item was added to the front, then you had to change it so as to make your head point to the newer item because it was added at the front. The same way for the tail. Managing the single linked list was easier because it had just one pointer among the nodes, among each two nodes, but here each node has two pointers, so managing becomes very difficult now. So to make the task easier, you will just keep head always pointing to a fixed node, that's a dummy node, and tail pointing always to a fixed node, that's the second dummy node, which means that every insertion, whether it's at the front, whether it's at the back, will always be treated similarly to adding anywhere in the middle. Why? Because at the very beginning, if your list is empty, you will always have two dummy nodes because the list is empty, there's nothing over here. So you have two dummy nodes over here. This is head is pointing to one, tail is pointing to the other. And since the list is empty, head's next is pointing to tail, and tail's previous is pointing to head. And then this next is null, this previous is null. Now consider nodes coming now wanting to be added to the list. That is very similar to the case if a node wants to be added into an existing list between these two nodes. No difference really. If a node 7 wants to be added between 1 and 2, you will just follow the same code. We will see the code later. But then treat basically as the same way if 7 wants to be added over here, because these two nodes are already available. So the case checks become lesser and lesser, because every time, mostly when we try to check let's go over here. Let me open up 2 of these instances. So if you remember in the last class, we saw the insert after different cases. If you remember these, the ones in the picture also, that every time when you are inserting at the front, these are the 2 lines of code that make it happen, and you are checking if you're inserting at the front, you are checking if you're inserting at the back, and you are checking if it is anywhere else. So technically, and you're also initially checking that are you inserted into an empty list or not. So basically, if, else, 4 different checks for different cases. Insert at the front, back, middle. Let's look at the dummy node implementation over here for the W linked list. So you have a dummy node d-linked list.ftp. which has only no checks really. Currently, just one check if you're just trying to insert in an invalid location, but technically look at the 4 checks over here and no checks over here. Why? Because those 2 dummy nodes basically treat every situation as being this one case of inserting anywhere in the middle, because in the middle means between any 2 nodes basically. So only one case is required. That's why using dummy nodes sort of like simplifies, because look, if we had to do this every time and reset the head and tail, it gets messier, because now we have 2 pointers per node. Even this is pretty messy, pretty complicated. So look, if we had to do that for different cases, then it gets more complicated. So that's why using dummy nodes is actually a easier task. Now that we are here, let's see exactly what this is trying to do. So at any given point, whether we are inserting between 2 dummy nodes or whether we are inserting between existing 2 nodes, the code is going to be the same. So supposing we are inserting 7 between these 2 nodes, and we have this one as dummy 1, this is pointed to by head. Incidentally, in the pictures, I always draw an additional box for the head pointer, but when you are actually drawing, you're okay if you don't draw that extra box for the head. And also no need for having like a bar over here for the next and a bar over here for the previous. You can just indicate just by the pointers like this. So you have this one here, and then you have another, this is the tail, so these are the dummies. And head's previous is null, tail's next is null. So now I want 7 to now be inserted between 3 and 5. So the current position that is being asked is actually the one where 7 will want to go. So that means that this is position number 1, this is position number 2. If 7 wants to go at position number 2, technically if it wants to go at position number 2, 5 will be like shifted back. So wants to go at position number 2, so mostly 5 will then become position number 3. So technically it's actually doing an insert before. That's why this name is called insert before. On the standard library, it's just plain called insert. So the point being that if you are trying to insert at a certain location, so mostly at point 2, you're technically moving the actual point to a little bit backward, so the new nodes can actually come at position 2. But the point being that you're inserting it like right before that position. And now they are using iterators over here, but think about iterator just like a pointer. So this is basically that position is called current. So this is current. And then now look, you want to insert a new node. So basically this pointer over here, let me call it new. And now let's see what that code is doing, these 4 lines of code. It's saying that new nodes next is equal to current dot node, because current is actually an iterator. So don't get confused by the dot and don't worry that much about it. It's just saying that new nodes next is actually getting the node that the current is pointing to. So new nodes next basically initially was null, and so was the previous. But now new nodes next is pointing over here to current. And then new nodes previous should point to current previous. Current previous is this one. So new nodes previous should point to current previous, because new node needs to fall between current and the previous, that is 3. So that is the 2 lines that do that. Then you have current nodes. Look at this complicated code over here. So many indirections over here. So current node, that is the 5. 5's previous is 3. 3's next is again 5. But 3's next is actually, we want to get that pointer. We want to lift, we should be able to get this pointer. That's why current previous is next, which is this pointer. Break it off from here and have it point to where new node is pointing, which is this one. That's what this line does. And then current nodes previous. So there is 5's previous needs to break from here and point to, is equal to new node, meaning point to where new node is pointing, which is this one. Technically now 7 has now come in between 3 and 5, and you have correctly set the pointers. The sequence of these instructions is important. If you interchange any of that, then the 7 will not be correctly placed in between 3 and 5. The sequence is important. So is this clear? Any questions? Okay. So then let's go over here for the W linked list. What we have is the equivalent. So the equivalent of single linked list in standard library was forward underscore list. The equivalent of a W linked list is just list. And you can see over here, list containers are implemented as W linked lists. So you have all of these functions that are now available in the list container, so many functions. And then you have You can look again at these functions and try to see some examples for it. There are a few examples. There is an example that I have created over here, which is called the list example. So if you want to look at that one, what that one is doing is using, like, including the list, hash include list, and then uh, creating an object of the type list, and this is for integers, that's why we have int over here, and call it my list, then set an iterator to it, that's the it, and now we will call some functions from the list container. So we have the pushback function. The pushback function is just adding one node at the back, one at a time. So if you want to create the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we keep calling dot pushback 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the dot begin. If we call the dot begin function and set the iterator to it, the iterator will point to the very first element in the list. So this is described over here simply by this here, that it's pointing to 1. Now, if you were to do plus plus it after that, that would move the iterator one step to the right. So now it will start pointing to 2. And then now we are using what is called an insert function. So that insert function is what is actually the insert before function over here. So because different people have written those different classes, you will see a lot of that. People tend to name their functions differently. So you have the insert function here, which actually takes in the position that I want to insert at the position it, which is currently at pointing to 2. I want to insert at that position it the number 10. If I want to put 10 at that position, then 2, 3, 5, 4, 5 have to move one space to the back. And that's exactly what happened when I tried to do this over here. So 10 came over here, and then 2, 3, 4, 5 moved back. But this insert function also is returning an iterator. It returns an iterator which actually now points to the latest inserted item, which was 10 itself. So 10 got inserted at that position, and an iterator at that position was also returned in it. So it points to the position 2 itself. Now when you do a minus minus it after that, then it moves to the position 1, so it points to the number 1. And then if you want to actually iterate over the list container, the list that you have just created, then you will run a for loop by setting the it to begin and check it until end, and keep running the loop by plus plus it, and you can print it by star it. So if you run it, you will be able to see that 1, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be printed. So is this clear? Any questions on? Now, again, doing what we did for the singly linked list, if I want to do the same thing, what is create the same list, but now using the doubly linked list classes that I have on the GitHub, how will I go about to do that? So remember, I have to actually include the relevant files from the GitHub. So then I will actually create another project. So let me create a new project, and then click on console app, then click next, then saving it in the 131 folder, and now let me call it DLL. So if you have a dll.cpp over here, that's just a hello world, so you can get rid of that. And now there is a d-linked list example on Titanium, so you can download that and copy that into your new project source file. So now basically we are trying to build the same list and using the same commands, like what we did over here. But the thing is that you have these error messages because you have to include the d-linked list HTTP and then the HXX. So in the GitHub code that we have downloaded, so we have in this code that we downloaded, you can copy the d-linked list HTTP, and over here is what you see. This is a regular d-linked list HXX, and this is a dummy node HXX. So we will copy the HTTP, that is the d-linked list, and then the dummy node HXX, both of these we will copy, and then we will bring them to the DLL project, and then we have to attach it over here. Which is this file, and then this file over here. So now you see those errors are gone, but there's more indication over here. Let me go to the d-linked list HTTP file. You can implement this class file either using, like I said, either using the dummy nodes or without dummy nodes. Or there's also a circular dummy node d-linked list possible. A circular linked list mostly, looks like this. So mostly the list is going like this. But, the last pointer technically just, circles back and points to the first one. And this one can point to that one. So that's a circular dummy linked list. So you have various ways, but let us just not use the regular one. So I comment that one out, and let me uncomment out the dummy linked node because I'm using that implementation. So that's why I need to actually uncomment out the correct one that I'm using. That's what is noted over here. So now that we have everything set, because this class is called a d-linked list, I use that as my class and then the object name. So compare that with what we had with the list example, where we simply used the std list, and the function over there was called pushback, and the function over here is called append. So we because we are trying to create the same list, so we call append 5 times with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have the operators implemented in our class, so that's why we are able to call the dot begin. So it sets to the very first element. Then the plus sets to the second element. And then, the insert over there was the same thing as the insert before over there. It's doing the same thing. Just the function names are different. So we have the same thing over here. Returns an iterator to the latest item that was inserted. And then, this is just trying to demonstrate what minus minus IT will do if we move it one element back. And then you can actually go over the list, iterate over the list, and print it out. So we can run this one over here. You see that this 1, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5 was created. Now, similar to the single linked list that we just saw, that we added a traverse and the print function to it, we can add a traverse and print function to our dlinked list class. So let's do that. Let's download that code. Let me copy it and paste it in my implementation file. Over here. So again, I need to have the declaration in the HTTP. And now let's look at this traverse function. This is very similar to the traverse function for the singly linked list, but there is one difference over here. So let's just look at it side by side. We had the pointers set to the head in the singly linked list, but we are setting it to heads next in the doubly linked list. Why are we doing that? Can anyone answer why are we doing that? Because head is a dummy, right? Yes. So because head is a dummy, so to get to the actual list, in the single linked list we did not have a dummy. So we were satisfied by beginning at the head. But we have to get to the list, the beginning of the list, that's why we do heads next. That's why we do that. And then we go over the list as long as, again, there's another change over here. In the single linked list, we check until we have reached the null pointer. In the doubly linked list, we check until we have reached the tail. Again, why? Because tail is the dummy. So those two changes you will see because we are using the dummy implementation for the doubly linked list. Rest everything is same. You do the pointers data, print it out, and then move pointer equals pointers next. So we can again test this function by calling the traverse function. Incidentally, when you just put a dot operator over here, it will just you can simply press tab as long as that function is selected over here. Just press tab, that will just save you some typing. And then let me try to run it. As you can see, this actually checks the correctness of the code. That if I am iterating it over it using just the begin and the iterators, or I am traversing using my written function with the pointers, I am doing the correct thing. That is going over one by one and printing it out. Now, here are some expected homework and mostly also exam question. That's the kind of coding question that comes in the exam. So given now that we have the access to the link, the HPP and the HXX, the questions in the homework and also in the exam would be adding more functions to this class. So technically adding more functionality. One functionality that you just did was traversing the list and printing it out. Another functionality is, can you print the list in reverse? It's much easier to do it for a DLL because for a single linked list, the pointers are just one way, going left to right. For a doubly linked list, the pointers also go from right to left. So we can use that to our advantage if we want to print the list in reverse. So write a function that does that. Think of it like a homework question or an exam question. The question will be phrased like, given this implementation on the GitHub, the HXX and the HTTP, and you have access to it, add a function that prints the list in reverse. So what would that function look like? You call it some reverse print. Let me actually move it first to the place that when you actually are writing this function in the homework, you can actually write it and test it on this code, that the project that you have created, the DLL, by including the relevant libraries and having some CPP that you can take from Titanium or build your own and test it on your list to check if your function is working correctly. So you can just make any list, you can just add any append item or add insert anywhere, but know what the list contains and then run the function on it. So my reverse print I have written, but I need to test it. So maybe I start writing it on paper. What I do is then I actually, because writing on paper doesn't do anything unless you actually check it's working correctly. So you have to have the logic for it, yes. So after having done that, I will paste it in the HXX, put the declaration where it belongs, and now let's see even what that code is doing. Compare that to the forward traversal, just the regular traversal that we were doing. Let me just open that function again. The regular left to right traversal. So, and this is a reverse traversal. Same, we have created a temporary pointer, node start PTR. What we are doing is now, instead of beginning at the head, we are beginning at the tail. So we set the pointer to tail's previous because tail is currently pointing to a dummy and we want to actually point to the actual last node, which is achievable by going tail's previous. So look at the exact opposite. Instead of going heads next, we go tail's previous. Then in the while loop, the forward traversal does keep traversing until the pointer reaches the tail, but the reverse traversal does keep traversing until the pointer reaches the head. And then you're printing out the data at each node, which that line is the same. But for forward traversal, you do next every time, pointer equals pointers next. But for backward traversal, you do pointer equals pointers previous. So that's the difference. So they're kind of like exactly opposite but very similar, but you have to make the change for the head and the tail and the next and the previous. So we can actually test this function. So basically, given some logic, you're even able to write this on a piece of paper. Yes, you are able to write this, but then there will always be mistakes unless and until If you write this on a piece of paper, there will always be some mistakes that will be not seen right away. So always test it in such a project that we have just created. Let me call the reverse print function. And let me run it. So initially the list was 1, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now you can see the reverse is 5, 4, 3, 2, 10, 1. So you can actually check it that it's performing correctly. Now think of some similar questions. So mostly if another question is like add a function to the delinked list class that searches for a given number in the list. So mostly if even you don't know what the list looks like, but maybe if the list is looks like this, the list is just 1, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, and suppose for an algorithm standpoint point of view is like before even writing the code, you can think about in terms of a for loop where you're thinking, I will go over the list one by one. How are you going over the list? You're either iterating over it, so you can use the iterators, which is the IT. You can do that. MyList.begin and this, you can do that. Or you can actually use your traverse function, or sort of like make some changes to the traverse function. Inside the traverse function, you can just say call it traverse and find or something. But while you're traversing it, you can either use the iterator or use the traverse function. That's up to you. What you're trying to do is you're trying to look for whether it has code. So intuitively, what will you do? You'll pick the data at each point. You will get the data, pointers data. Start comparing it with 4. Is it equal to 4? Yes. Return true. Not equal to 4, go next. 10 is equal to 4, no, go next. 2, no, go next. Keep going next until you find 4. So this is how your logic, just spell it out mostly in just like, plain English before even the code. So that's how algorithms really are written. Pseudocode is like writing the code mostly in just English language, like sentences where I will do this, compare it with 1, with 10, and this, and then translate it into code. So then you can actually compare if that data is equal to 4, do this, else do that. So that kind of question, example question, maybe exam question is, write a function in the delinked list class that finds a given number in the list. So then we might want to write that function. Now, one thing that we have is like in this list container, we have a lot more functions, but again we cannot go over all of them because of the time constraint. But then it will always be helpful if you actually go over some of the important ones. I mean, like all the push, front, push back, front. This is just a front function, which what it does is just fetches the element, just gets the element at the very first in the first node of the list. So you can see some functions, the descriptions are there, what they do, and best way to learn about them is through the program. Now, let me ask you this. If either it's a singly linked list or it's a doubly linked list, if I have to add an element at the front of the list over here, what is the time complexity for that?
Order of one.
That's correct. It's order of one. Because head is available to me in both cases. So every time I'm doing some two number of those C++ statements, just two steps at a time, which is a constant number of steps. Because every time my head is available, so I'm doing those two steps. And those steps are constant, that's why it's order of one. What if I'm using a dummy linked list implementation? Is it still order one? Is it still order one?
Yes.
Yes. It's still order one because dummy is just one node, extra node to the at the head, and adding at the head just means like adding over here somewhere. Maybe a couple of like you had four code statements over there, but those four are always constant, right? Those the steps you're doing every time are the same. It's constant. What that means is, irrespective of the number of elements in the list, adding at the head doesn't change at any time. Because the number of elements in the list are n, and adding the element at the head is not ever dependent on n. That's why it's order one every time. It's constant number of steps. The same goes for the tail. If you have a tail pointer available, either in the dummy or without the dummy, in the single linked list, the same goes for the tail. If you're adding something at the back of the list, every time you're just doing a constant number of steps. But what if the tail point is not there and you want to add at the back of the list? Then what is the time complexity?
Still order of one.
If the tail pointer is not there is no pointer to the last element of the list. So technically, how do you even know which is the last element to the list?
Just
You have to go one by one, searching until you reach the last element of the list. Then only you are able to insert something. So it's order of n at the time. You're going over one by one, looking where is the last element, technically going over all the n elements. And for the very general case, if you're inserting anywhere in the middle, not in the middle, but anywhere, not at the front, not at the back, irrespective of the tail pointer or head pointer will always be there. Tail may or may not be there. But then inserting anywhere in the list, what is the time complexity of that?
Oh, when?
It's order n, yes. Because inserting anywhere, you have to look for the position where you're trying to insert. So that the worst case scenario is, you have to actually go over all the nodes till you find the location where you are inserting. Because you always have to take accord for the worst case scenario. That's why it's order of n. Which is exactly what you can find over here, where if you want to click on the insert, look at the complexity it says over here. Linear in the number of elements inserted. Linear meaning order n. Anything in n and not n square, because n square is quadratic, linear is order n. And because the list maintains a head as well as a tail pointer, so if you do something and push front, inserting at the front, you can see the time complexity is constant, meaning order 1. The same goes for pushback, constant, order 1. And if you go to the forward list, and if you check the insert, it's called insert after here. Again, linear, order n, because you may have to search for where you're trying to insert anywhere. But if you want to push front, then it is constant, that is order 1. And if you want to, here's the thing, there's no pushback over here. So, and there's no pushback over here, that's one indication that the standard library single linked list does not have a tail pointer, and it just treats inserting at the tail equivalent to inserting anywhere. And technically, without a tail pointer, if you want to insert something, it will just be order n. But for the list, of course, I mean, you do have a pushback function, that means you do have a tail pointer. And that one is a constant. But this gives an insight that we do have a tail pointer, that's why it's constant, because if you did not have a tail pointer, technically you have to find where the last item is. And to find something, the last item, you keep searching. Is it null? Is it null? Is it null? Is the next null? Then only, if something's next is null, then only it's the last item, right? So in order to search that, you go over all the elements. That's why if you go over everything, that would be order n. But if you have a tail pointer and you try something to push back on it, then you're not going over everything. You have directly the position available, you're not going over everything, you can just push back over here, technically just one step or a constant number of steps. That's why you have order 1. Now what happens in the case of, because we didn't get much time, we never saw the deletes. So the delete mostly also have to rearrange, like reset your pointers when you delete something. So technically if you're, between two nodes, if you're trying to delete something, so mostly this is this, and then if you're trying to delete, this node, you would have to reset the pointers, like this is previous has to point over here, and this is next has to point over here, right? So again, the deletes will also, you can check the complexity will always be given, but deletes also is very similar to the inserts. Deleting anywhere in the middle, order n, but deleting at the front, deleting at the back, order 1. And you can check that, like, pop back is what deleting at the back means, which you can see it's constant over here. Pop front is constant, but anywhere else, deleting is called remove. Remove an element with a specific value. That is linear, because you have to check what you are trying to remove. First you have to find it. Right? So any questions at all? So remember what we have now, this last segment of the complexities. This kind of question can actually come in one of the multiple choices in the exam, that what is the time complexity to insert something at the head, because you have the head pointer. So you'll be given 4 choices, order n, order 1, n square or something. So you will get the answer that is order 1. Right? So any questions?
Good stuff.
All right. So then um, let's wrap up. You have this homework that is due this Sunday, and then there will be another homework due like next week. But just look out for it. I'll send an announcement. It'll be based on single linked list and doubly linked list. All right. So that's about it then. Let's meet again on Tuesday. Okay. All right then. Bye.
Bye, Professor.